What's up, gentlemen? Back at it again. We're down here in the ready room once again. This time, this is a addendum slash remake to my earlier video of fundamentals of kit setup that I filmed probably about a year ago now. Since then, I've actually put together a solid kit. So this is one, going to be going over obviously kit setup, and two, kind of going over what a typical Ranger kit would look like. Depending on your role. Obviously, you know, I was a team leader when I got out, so this is kind of be centric around the team leader. My kit's kind of set up for, you know, more dynamic CQB shit. Like, I addendum to this whole video. Everyone wants to nerd out about kits and pouches and, oh, what are you running? Like, whoa, what, you know, how should I optimize? Like there's a billion different ways to do it. Like I kind of talked about in my first video about this topic. This kit setup is similar to what I ran when I was in regiment. There's a few changes, obviously. One, I don't have access to the same kind of munitions that I did in regiment, i.e., you know, frag grenades or military issue smokes, stuff like that, thermobaric devices, breaching material, you know, flex linear charges, det cord, that kind of cool stuff. So obviously I haven't set my kit up to be able to run that kind of stuff because I don't have it and I can't get it. So without further ado, we're going to talk and we're going to go from like the base layer all the way up to helmet setup, and yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. So I'm wearing Crye G3s, so the G3 uniform. This is the field top. I've got a Velocity Systems rugby shirt on underneath. American flag right shoulder. I don't have a call sign anymore, so I'm not running any kind of patches over on the left side. Whatever, moving on. I'm wearing Crye G3s, knee pads. So typically, these knee pads do like to come out. So a lot of the times you'll see guys running them and they'll have the fabric layer pulled out over the top of the knee pad, or they'll run like straight external knee pads like the Arc'teryx knee pads. I'm not sure exactly what model they're called, but you see those pretty often. But I like to wear knee pads. You know, you never know when you're gonna be freaking climbing up the side of a mountain or, you know, side of a hill. They save you for that. Or if you're on a knee for a long time, like in PZ posture or pulling security somewhere, they just kind of help, you know, make your life a little bit less painful. Moving on to what I'm carrying in my pockets. My left pocket, I will be carrying, you know, on target as well. Like if I'm in charge of detainees, like part of a puck team on the containment side, or, you know, inner cordon, I'll be carrying a bunch of these flex cuffs. You can buy these online. I just have this here as an example. I'm not really carrying these around if I was to, you know, have to mount up and go do something. And the left pocket here, you know, dip, nicotine of some sort. These are the dip pockets, right? Other pocket here, I've got spare batteries for my optics, my night vision device. I like keeping those like on my person. I don't like putting those somewhere else on my kit. And they just kind of fit nicely in that other front pocket. Left pocket, I've got a compass. Now, a lot of guys probably don't carry one of these on their kit, and you should. They're handy for communicating over radio, like you need to give someone a freaking back azimuth to your location, setting up sectors of fire on a support by fire, general land navigation. You can't rely necessarily on GPS devices, so this would, you know, be used in conjunction with a map of some sort. Compass, have it. You know how to use it. Go to the land nav video if you don't know how to use a compass or a map. Left shoulder pocket, moving on. We've got a pen flare kit for signaling, and the reason that this is on my body and not like on my kit somewhere is if I get separated from my kit for whatever reason, you know, and I have to signal, I have a means of signaling in my pocket. Pen flare kit would be used for, you know, shift and lift fires, part of your pace communications plan, which again we talked about in earlier videos, so go reference those if you don't know what I'm talking about. My shoulder pocket, I didn't grab a notebook before this, but I'll carry a notebook and some kind of pen, usually a Sharpie and like a Right in the Rain pen or a map marker in my other shoulder pocket. When you're a Ranger, you're gonna be carrying your bump cards, which basically has like your SI information on it, a little bit of personal information that's used if you're a casualty. And, you know, one of them goes to platoon sergeant, one of them goes with medic, and then they use that to track your SI and make sure that you don't, you know, during the process of treating you as a casualty, that none of your stuff gets lost. So like your pistol, like all of your mounted objects, like your lasers, your optics, all that information is gonna be carried kind of in your pocket here so that they can track and make sure that you didn't leave like your fucking rifle behind when they exfilled you as a casualty. Most of the time that equipment is gonna stay with the platoon or your squad and carried in a casualty bag, because it's not gonna go with you on the bird, because you're gonna be getting passed off, you know, between different kind of medical stations, medical treatment, and the chance of someone just being able to snag that stuff and walk off with it's pretty high. So it stays with the force on target. I'm wearing the inner part of the belt, which we'll get into next here. So it's a Blue Alpha Gear Systems belt, and my belt is right here. So everything's kind of a work in progress on my carry now. This is probably like 95% for me. So we'll go kind of left to right as it's worn. I've got 3 pistol mags. Most of the time I would only want to do 2, but I do use this belt for, just general range purposes and competition style shooting. So I like to be able to carry 3 mags, and it's not that hard to just drop one and put, something a little bit more useful in that pouch. Moving backwards, we have a multi-tool pouch. This is a SOG. Man, I don't even know the model of this one, but this shit's been with me since literally basic training. And I don't know how I haven't lost it yet, knock on wood, but that thing is a lifesaver. Moving backwards, I have a dump pouch. This is something I actually made myself, kind of patterned after one of the ones I had. I was looking online, all the dump pouches I saw were, 50, 60 bucks. I'm like, I have a sewing machine and I have material, so I'm just going to make my own. So it's got a little drawstring and it rolls up nice and compact. Moving backwards, I kind of talked in the previous video how difficult it is to run a rifle left-handed and a pistol right-handed because it makes, magazine storage somewhat difficult. I decided to try it out, so I threw a Eagle Industries single M4 mag pouch on the back here. We've got a Safariland 6.3 54. This is the DO, so I had to do a little bit of modification for it to work with my... It's a little sticky because I did have to do some modifications, so it's not perfect. I've just put a red dot on my pistol. This isn't going to be a gun video, so I'm not talking about guns. But it is red dot and pistol light capable. You can get the RDS version, which works a little bit better for off-the-shelf red dot optics. Moving forward, typically, when I was in Ranger Regiment, I would carry a frag on my front right. However, obviously I don't have frags anymore. So I recently purchased some IWA banger devices. This is their M12 distraction device, and this is a tactical Tailor pouch that I had on hand. It's not the best, I will say right now, because it kind of leaves the pin a little bit over the top of the actual part of the pouch. So I'm going to get another pouch that fits this just a little bit better. But I like having the ability to have some kind of munition that I can access on my front. So there's the belt. We have these chem lights. I just threw these on here. They were routed through the belt. They came off. SOP dictates, depending on what kind of unit you're in or what kind of SOP you have with your group of guys that you're training with, you may have some kind of SOP that you drop a lit chem or a cracked chem in a cleared room so that people coming behind you know that it's been cleared. Don't always necessarily have these. I'm showing these for obviously the demonstration and kind of talking about differences between the kit that I had in war as a Ranger and what I have now. So that is the belt. Moving on, we'll get into the actual kit itself, and it's going to look a little significantly different than last time. So we have the Crye Precision JPC 2.0, and we'll just work front to side to back. So up front we have just the standard Crye Precision triple mag, AVS flap, JPC flap, whatever have you. With kind of kangaroo style inserts. Up front we have a very salty blue Force Gear 10-speed triple mag M4 mag pouch. I really like this because it's so versatile. It's kind of it's gonna lie flat when you're not using it, and if I needed to throw an extra couple mags in here, I can do that. If I wanted to throw one of my bangers or a couple extra of my bangers up front, I can do that. I've done that a few times while I was in regiment. A lot of the times you'll see guys running their initiation system across their front line so they can easily and quickly, access breaching charge, put on the wall, and then they have their first initiation system up front here, so it's quick and easy access. We got PMags, tan, Ranger style DUI, American flag. In the top, I'm carrying a piece of VS17 panel used for visual signaling. Worst comes to worst and your radios go down and you're out of freaking pen flares and you're out of freaking smokes or any kind of signaling device, you're able to use this during, daytime, have some kind of SOP of shift and lift signals, ceasefire signals, useful for signaling to aircraft if I was working with aircraft. It's something small, compact, it literally weighs nothing, and it's just right there in my admin kind of style pouch here. Could run extra batteries in there as well. I don't like having a whole lot of stuff up top because it kind of interferes with, reloads and such. Moving on to the right, we have a U94 push-to-talk. It's a little different than those kind of blocky push-to-talks you see. I picked this up in Syria from some of the guys we were working with, and it's probably my favorite. It's a little bit more streamlined, and it sits a little bit closer to your body with the clip versus the traditional style push-to-talks you see that come with the Peltor contacts and such. And we've got a chin strap extender for use with, gas mask. I do have a gas mask. It is a MSA Millennium. Not part of the kit that I usually carry. However, if you do have to use it, you definitely want to have your chin strap buckled because they don't fit that well with helmets. So this is just a little chin strap extender, which is kind of doubling as a wire routing, retainer, if you will. Moving on to the shoulder pads, I put some beefier. These are the Crye AVS shoulder pads, so they're a little bit thicker. Makes wearing this for longer durations a little bit more comfortable, and it also is doubling as a comms routing kind of retention system. And we'll go right side of the cummerbund now. Up front, we've got a double mag pouch. 2 more, AR-15 mags. I carry, a total of 8 mags on the kit to include the belt and then 1 in the gun, so 9 mags. We got 1 tourniquet, Ranger banded retainer band to the front, so I could access it with left or right hands. I've kept this side pretty clear because this is my draw side for my pistol. If I have to draw my pistol, I don't want to have a whole lot of interference over here, so I've left this pretty open. I don't have side plate pouches yet. I'm debating whether I want to try and make my own or just order some from Spiritus Systems or Crye themselves. But usually, again, we talked about this in the first video, right? You want to have side plates in, they will save your life. My squad leader got hit in the side plate. I've talked to other guys who have been hit in the side plate, and it's a real thing, and there's no reason if you're wearing full kit to not have side plates in. They will, save your life. Moving back on the cummerbund and towards the back here, we've got a radio pouch. There's different kind of schools of thought of where you want to run your radio. A lot of guys will run it like the wings up front so that you can, access it, change the channel and such. Because I don't have my side plates in yet, I haven't really experimented with that. And I know that it's going to kind of interfere with the side plates. So I'm running it on the back right currently, so I really can't access it if I'm wearing the kit. Currently, this is something that I'm working on. I'm just rocking a Baofeng freaking UV5R with some Disco 32 push-to-talks and antennas. So this is I don't know how well the camera's picking this up. It looks like you can kind of see it. This is a flexible radio, so I have it routed underneath the back panel here. It's just running through the Molle on the actual kit itself. And then we have a Disco 32 to standard 5-pin push-to-talk converter. I got the converter because push-to-talks have a nasty tendency to kind of shit the bed. If they get super wet or, bumped around too much, they won't be able to transmit anymore. So I opted for the little bit bulkier version of just the adapter, because I have a ton of push-to-talks and I can just, swap out the push-to-talk as long as, obviously this is still functioning. Inside, I've just got a retainer band kind of holding the push-to-talk in, and that's about it. I'm looking at upgrading radios. Obviously, the Baofeng is kind of, everyone gets it as a kind of a beginner radio, but currently I'm looking towards getting into like the Hytera side of things, something a little bit more quality and not Chinese trash. Moving towards the back of the kit now. So we have just a Molle back panel. Up top right, we have another banger pouch with another one of the IWA bangers. So you carry bangers on your back as, a member of a team clearing through doing CQB. That lead guy is probably not going to be the one banging the door, banging the room, right? They're going to be holding security on the door, and they're going to be calling for some kind of breaching drill if needed. The team members behind them will take the banger off the back of your kit, hold it up next to your face, and they're going to lead kind of with that while you're holding security on the door. We have just a general kind of large GP pouch. I've got some wire snips here. We've got some heavier work gloves. You never know when you're going to be needing to clear out glass from a broken window, move kind of C-wire or some kind of other obstacles that can cut your hands up that you don't want to use your regular gloves for, which I guess we didn't really talk about gloves, but I wear the SKD Pig Delta, the Deltas. Yeah, so they're really thin. You can use touchscreen devices with them. There's a little kind of side note here as we're moving around the kit. That's going back in there. So I don't have my Camelback in here, but you have the ability to carry a Camelback. You should have water on your kit, whether it's in the form of water bottles that you just throw in your pockets or an actual dedicated Camelback. I've seen a lot of Camelbacks pop, so I know a lot of the guys don't like running Camelback bladders inside the back of their kit because then they just leak everywhere, and then now you're, you know, shit out of luck on the water. Like if you get, you know, catch a graze or some frag and it pops one of your water bottles, like, okay, cool, you've got like 4 or 5 more in your pockets or your dump pouch. So different schools of thought. I've done both. I've both worn, you know, the Camelback, and I've also just carried a fuck ton of water bottles elsewhere on my kit. Moving over to the back left, if you're looking at me from behind, just rolled up, blacked out American flag. You see a lot of the guys kind of running that as last-ditch means of signaling aircraft or communicating with ground forces. I threw it on there because it's cool, and I like the blacked out look. It's a little bit more tactical than, you know, the red, white, and blue. Moving to the bottom, we have the forward observations slash Faro Concepts Roll 1. This is going to carry the rest of the medical gear. It's not tourniquets. Tourniquets don't really fit well in here once you get it pretty full. You know, I've got a chest seal, I've got combat gauze, pressure dressings, that kind of thing in here. I don't think I'm carrying needle Ds anymore, as I haven't done it in a while, and I would not feel comfortable doing them to someone or having them done on me by someone who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. So there's chest seals in here, which is kind of enough to get you by if you were to get shot in the chest, in the box. This isn't going to be a medical video, so we're going to leave it at that. Get proper medical training. Moving over to the left side now, we've got a 100-round saw pouch from Eagle Industries, and I've got 2 IWA smoke devices in here. These are the longer burning ones. I think they got like 70 seconds or so of billow time. And I have these in my kit because if you're maneuvering, you need to have some kind of, you don't have, you know, the best cover in the world. You want some kind of concealment, and these are handy for creating concealment kind of on the fly, signaling, masking your movement, or if you were to, you know, have to initiate a break contact drill. Again, we're not going to get super into the weeds on that kind of side of things of the uses of smoke, but you should be able to have that capability, and that's something you can have as a civilian. You just take a freaking 20-minute little course from IWA, and you can buy and ship these things right to your front door. If you're 18 and up, obviously. Moving back, we've got another double mag pouch, another freaking 60 rounds there, and my second tourniquet. So that is the JPC. I'm going to throw it on here. All right, moving on to the helmet. So we've got a Ops Core Maritime Ballistic High Cut, 3A rated. We have an S&S Precision V-Light strobe up here, IR. Pretty sure this one only does IR. Moving forward, we've got a set of PVS 15s. These are great, very rugged, very durable night vision. Only downside is they're a little bit heavy and can kind of wear on your neck over time. Just got green phos in there, nothing too fancy. These are kind of what I used initially as a private regiment before we got 31s. And I won these in a 9-minded raffle, so I kind of lucked out. As normally, you know, anywhere from 7 to 12K depending on your specs and where you get it from. So very fortunate to have gotten those, as I like to have the capabilities in the dark. It's the cheapest superpower you can get. Obviously, we have the Wilcox L24 in the tan. Wilcox mounts, overpriced a little bit, I think, but they're you know, they're the standard for a reason. A lot of adjustment options on there. Always have some kind of retention device for your night vision. You never know when you're gonna bump your head or trip and eat shit, and your night vision goes flying off your head, and you know, could be a bad day. Could lose your very expensive investment and or piece of Army equipment that you will have to pay for potentially. I don't like using, and I see a lot of guys using Velcro retention to where it kind of straps into the front of the night vision and then it Velcros onto the helmet somewhere. That shit can get snagged and ripped off real quick maneuvering through the woods. So we use these little tiny S-beaners. Show that real quick. So one of these night eyes, I have a bunch of these. They're really not that much of an investment, and just, you know, gutted 550 cord to retain a night vision to your helmet. It's like fucking $5 altogether, maybe, to protect your multi-$1,000 investment. So do that. Use proper knots. Inland Boland, IR American flag. And moving around the back, this is kind of a tradition. My closer friends in regiment, when we were overseas, we'd put a pack of Lucky Strikes on the back of our helmets, unfiltered, in the original cellophane, so that if, you know, you get wet, it doesn't hurt the cigarettes inside. And that's an emergency, you know. You just lived through the fucking toughest gunfight of your life and you want a cigarette, that's what those are there for. And or it's you're preparing for the last stands, you need a fucking little hit, a little pick me up, and then just a fucking Ranger patch, whatever. I don't have the rails currently for my communication setup. I just have my Comtac 4s. You can run these obviously on the arc rails like you see a lot of guys doing, or they'll run the amps. You know, I'm out of the Army now, so I only have one set, and I don't really feel like cutting up my headband because I'll use these just out on the range when I don't want to wear my helmet. So looking into getting a second set of those and have a dedicated set of Ear Pro on my helmet. So I just run these underneath, and it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. However, you know, it beats being deaf, and it beats not being able to use them with your radio. So these down leads always, you know, store your freaking wires so they're not just looking like a bag of ass. So just retainer band that shit. Just goes a long way into making you look a little bit more presentable. So these just plug directly, the down lead will plug directly into your freaking push to talk here, and you're good to go and freaking talk on the radio. So that is my current setup, kind of very similar to how I had my AVS setup when I was in regiment. I do love the Crye AVS, and I'll probably get another one day, but this JPC works fine and fits my needs very well currently. So just a couple maybe addendums to the kit setup video from, you know, a year ago. Your push to talk and stuff should be opposite your firing side of your shoulder. That way, when you're shouldering your weapon, you're not going to freaking bump and potentially unplug your push to talk, right? You know, carry things in your pockets. You know, a lot of the guys, I've seen SOPs to where dudes will carry their medical gear, like their full IFAK, inside one of their cargo pockets with some kind of like insert. There's many pros and cons about this. Also talking about, there's a guy that asked about belt versus kit. It really kind of just depends on what you've got, obviously, and kind of the SOP that your unit or the unit of guys that you train with kind of want to do. But it should be standardized, and it should be in roughly the same location on every single person. So, you know, back left or like on your back somewhere is typically where you'll see it. Again, your kit, you know, it should be mission specific to a degree. However, you don't always get to dictate the mission as well. You know, you might get a freaking TST of, hey, we got to go do this right now, and you don't have time to switch over kits. So that's why, you know, having maybe specific back panels built out for specific kind of roles is something that you can look into. I have a second back panel that's just the, it looks like a turtle shell. I'm currently trying to repair it. One of the zippers is kind of busted up. But if I was doing maybe a longer movement without needing a breaching stuff potentially, I would throw that in there and throw, you know, maybe some water bottles or a freaking MRE, or run it slick and carry just a small 3-day assault pack. You know, there's no specific right way to set up your kit. You know, you got to do something that's comfortable for you. Everyone's got different body shapes and different, you know, requirements for whatever they're doing. I know GBRS, they've got a video out of the guys talking about, I only ever needed 3 mags. It's like, cool, bro. Like that was your mission set. But for the majority of us, like there's no resupply. Like there's no one to come save you. You know, you probably don't have caches hidden around wherever your AO is on the civilian side. And you've got to carry probably more than you think you need. A standard loadout of 7 mags isn't going to get you very far at all into a gunfight, especially if you got to provide some kind of suppressing fire. And if you're in a smaller group of dudes, right, that's going to go and get burned through really quick. So get out there, try out your kit on, go for a freaking long ass walk in the mountains with it on, see where it's rubbing you. Figure out ways to stow your freaking loose equipment. You know, you should never have dangling straps. This is all like kind of basic individual soldier ranger discipline, if you will. You know, make sure when you jump up and down, stuff isn't rattling around and banging around. You want it to be, you know, almost silent. You don't want to be hearing any of your equipment bang around against each other. And don't carry shit just because, and don't set up your kit like mine. Like I set mine up because I know this is how I like. I have it for my kind of idea of what I would need my kit for. But again, you know, don't copy dudes on the internet that, you know, have a pedigree like mine, or, you know, don't even have a pedigree like mine in some cases. They tell you, oh, this is how you should run your kit. Like, it's very broad and it's very specific to each person and to each specific circumstance. So there's not a, you will do this way, otherwise you're a fucking piece of shit and you're gonna get killed in the streets, right? So, you know, if you have a question about a specific piece of kit on my kit or pouch on my kit, drop it in the comments below. I'll let you know exactly what kind of brand it comes from. Thanks for watching, and we're gonna catch you all next time.